very good morning to all of you children. I hope I'm audible to you people. Okay, very good. So good morning. Let's start with with the revision of this chapter, Deep Water. You've done it already, but this chapter is the one which has come for revision by the department this week. Okay, and as it is, we completed the syllabus, so we just have to revise the chapters and other things. So this chapter, Deep Water, I'll just summarize it, and in the meantime, I'll ask questions from you, and I'll take up your doubts also. Fine? Okay. Okay, so this chapter has been written by William O. Douglas. It is an informal autobiography by Douglas, and it is an excerpt taken from the book of Men and Mountains by William Douglas. And in this chapter, he talks basically about the fear of he's talking about his fear of water, and that stayed with him for many years, and how he finally overcame it with a lot of determination, with his courage, and uh, with his positivity, how he overcame that fear. This is what he talks about in this chapter. So his fear started, he started hating water, that dislike for water, it started when he was just 3 or 4 years old. Can I even just elaborate the incident which led him have that fear? The fear started when he was only 3 to 4 years old. Yes, anybody? What was the incident that made him have that fear? Yes, Simratpal. Yes, he had gone to a beach with his father and California beach, and suddenly he was, drowned underwater because of he felt the overpowering force of the waves. And his father was standing just quite close to him, and he just laughed it out because he knew it that there was nothing to worry about, and his father was very close by. If anything untoward would have happened, his father was there to help him out. But that, dislike for water started at that particular age when he was very small. And so this chapter also talks about how, childhood experiences play a very important role in a formation of our personality, and how these childhood experiences have a positive effect on our lives or a negative effect on our lives later on, and they remain with us throughout our lives. This is also one of the aspects that this chapter deals with. Then he started, then when he was around 10 or 11 years old, he thought that he would learn swimming because he wanted to overcome that fear of water. So he decided to learn it in YMCA swimming pool. Why did his mother warn him against the YMCA river? Because it was very dangerous, it was treacherous, and there were many drownings. She had heard about many drowning incidents earlier there. So YMCA pool was safe. And why was the pool safe? Because the slope in it was gradual. So if earlier on it was shallow, then slowly and slowly it went to the deeper side. So slope was very gradual. So that is why he felt that it was safe, and his mother also pointed it out that he should learn it there. So he started learning swimming with the help of water wings, slowly and slowly. He was gradually trying to learn swimming. But one day, what happened while he was just sitting by the side of the pool, and why was he sitting by the side? Because nobody was there. So he did not want to venture inside into the pool alone. So he was sitting by the side of the pool, and suddenly a big, a boy came, and most probably in his late teens, and he just picked him up and he just tossed him, he just threw him into the deeper side of the pool. And this was the main incident that this chapter talks about. So naturally, Douglas was frightened, but he was not frightened out of his wits. What do you understand by this statement? This is the statement that has been that Douglas speaks out in this chapter. I was frightened, but not frightened out of my wits. What do you mean by this? This adventure that he talks about, and he says, I was frightened, yet not frightened out of my wits. What do you mean by that? Online students? Just a minute, Malvika.
He was saying this because he was fearful, but he could overcome that fear.
Yes. So he meant to say that he
He could overcome that fear because he was still in his balanced state of mind. He has not lost his the balance of his mind. So he knew it that if he wanted to, he could come to the surface of the water, and he had a strategy. He had a particular strategy, and that strategy was when the time he would hit the bottom of the pool, he would jump up and with all his force, and he would come to the surface of water. He would lie flat on the surface of water, and he would paddle towards the end of it. Okay, so this was his strategy, and the moment he started going down, it was 9 feet deep pool, but those 9 feet seemed like 90. No, it was a long journey downwards. So the time he reached the bottom of the pool, he tried to jump. And he thought that he would come to the surface of water, and he would come out of water like a cock. And but that did not happen. When he opened his eyes and he swallowed water, when he opened his eyes, he could see only water around him. So and he wanted that his legs should come up, but they did not come up. They felt paralyzed. Okay, so that was the thing. That was the first time that he hit the bottom of the pool, and he tried to come up to the surface of water. The next time, the second time again, he started going the downward journey began, and the same strategy, he felt that he would follow the same strategy, and that was that he would hit when the moment he would hit the bottom of the pool, what would he do? He would, with all his force, he would try to come to the surface of water. So again, this was the most horrifying thing happened, that he tried to clutch. He felt that there were ropes around, and he tried clutching at the ropes, but there was nothing, and he could grasp only water. So it was his plan, that the plan was that he would come to the surface of water like a cork, but that plan failed because he fails to pop up to the surface, and he rose very slowly. Okay, and he struggled a lot while trying to bring his legs to paddle. So then eventually the third time when he went down, he lost all his stamina, and he lost his courage, and he as well as he lost his will to struggle. He could not struggle, and he felt that he was drowning, and he had also swallowed a lot of water because he was not a professional swimmer. He didn't even know how to swim properly. So he started becoming unconscious, and at that particular time he made one important statement, that was that he felt at peace. And that is why he says there is peace in death. Okay, there is fear only in the fear of death, but in death there is peace. Okay, so and he became unconscious because he felt that life was slipping out of his hands, and he would not be able to wake up again. So, but he was unconscious, and when he regained consciousness, he found that he had been saved, and there were people who tried to save him, and people were trying to revive him now out of his unconsciousness. Okay, got it. So for several hours, he walked home, but he felt very weak, and uh, he was trembling. He was shaking because of he had lost a lot of his strength, and that horrifying incident. It was because of the terror of it, and because of exhaustion, because he had wasted a lot of his strength in trying to struggle against water. So this kind of phobia, now was the time for that water phobia. He developed hydrophobia. This was the time that he had it, and this phobia, it haunted him. It terrified him for many years, and he could not enjoy many water sport activities like fishing, canoeing, boating, and every time he wished like going there, that old fear returned. So there was a time that he started hating this kind of handicap. This was a handicap that did not let him enjoy any of the water activities. And one day, fine day in October, he finally decided that he has to overcome this fear of water. So he hired an instructor for himself. And what did the instructor do to him? What was the job of the instructor? What did he do to William Douglas? How did the instructor build a swimmer out of Douglas? Yes, Simripal. Yes. So he built he by inch, very gradually, he made a swimmer out of Douglas, and he attached a rope to the belt that went around him, and then it was attached to a pulley that ran on an overhead cable. So that one end of the rope was held by the instructor, and he made him go back and forth and across the pool after hour and day after day. So it took him many months. It's the this kind of, how he learned to swim. It was a very gradual process. Okay, so and it days and months and weeks of practice, and under that able guidance of that instructor, finally made him a good swimmer. And he continued, but he was not confident upon himself, and he continued to test his potential in swimming as a swimmer. Even after the instructor had finished up his training, William Douglas still continued to test his potential, and he deliberately confronted many, he confronted drowning. He challenged himself, and he felt that at some points of time, water was trying to scare him. But there were only tiny vestiges of fear that was still, tiny remnants of fear that was still left in him. So he went to various places. He went to Lake Wentworth, he in New Hampshire, and there he swam 2 miles across that lake. And okay, then while he was in the middle of the lake, what happened? He put his face underwater. He tried to put his face underwater in order to challenge his old fear, and that fear was there, but then eventually the fear fled and he swam on. So he was successful, and some days later he went to Warm Lake. So you need to learn the names of these lakes also. Okay, Lake Wentworth, Warm Lake, and things like that. And thereafter, there he swam across the lake. And he shouted with joy because he had conquered his fear. That was the most important achievement of his. Okay, so he came out with every achievement, he came out stronger. And after so many years, when he remembered, when he recalled his misadventure, so he drew an important lesson of life from that misadventure. And that we've already discussed, that he says, in death, there is peace, there is terror, there is fear only in the fear of death. Okay, the famous president, U.S. president, who was his friend also, Roosevelt. He was also of the opinion. He held the same opinion that all we have to fear is fear itself. And what does the statement mean? The statement means that fear is only a state of your mind. Okay, and once you're able to overcome it, then it can never scare you. Okay, so he had experienced, Douglas in this autobiographical account says that he had experienced both. Both means the sensation of dying. He had almost died. So that sensation of dying he had experienced, and he had also experienced the terror that the fear of it could produce in your mind. So these things, this strengthened his will to overcome, to live and to overcome that fear of water with a lot of courage and with a lot of determination. Got it? So this is the chapter. Let me ask a few questions from you so that even I am sure that you have followed and you have revised too. Did Douglas refrain from going into the pool all alone on that fateful day? Online students, why did he refrain from going into the pool all alone on that fateful day? Speaker, we've discussed it today also.
Alone in the pool because he had a fear of water at the age of 3 or 4, and he, he had still fear of water in his heart.
Yes. So he had that fear of water right from his childhood when he was just 3 or 4 years old, when he had gone to a beach, California beach with his father. So at that experience with water, it had taught him a kind of a thing that he should not experiment without reason with water. So that fear was still instilled in his mind. So while he was sitting there alone, he did not feel like going into the pool all alone. Okay, so